Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I'm Melissa. I am a registered dietitian and I talk about food and nutrition and all sorts of things like that. Sometimes different stuff too. So if that sounds at all appealing to you, then please make sure you're subscribed to my channel. So this week I'm doing something a little different that I haven't done before, and that is a movie review. Don't worry, I'm not becoming a film critic. This movie actually has to do with the topic at hand, and that movie is To the Bone. It is a new movie on Netflix about a girl with an eating disorder. So I thought that I would kind of give a dietitian's perspective. Is this movie realistic? Is it not realistic? Is it helpful? Is it harmful? All those sorts of things. So quick background on me. I've not personally suffered from an eating disorder, but it is a topic that's always been a really big interest of mine. I minored in psychology in college just because I thought that eating disorders might be an area that I would want to work in. And I was able to do a rotation at an eating disorder facility where I was able to go to both the inpatient and outpatient treatment facilities. And I really learned a lot in a short period of time. So I'm not an expert on the topic, but I do think that I am more knowledgeable about it than the average person, and honestly probably more than the average dietitian. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of dietitians get a chance to learn about eating disorders, so that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, so that is the place that I'm coming from in talking about this movie. And yeah, let's get started. First, I should say, if you yourself have an eating disorder, have had an eating disorder, have any type of disordered eating, if you are currently in treatment, in recovery, I would not watch this movie. There's definitely some triggering moments, and I would not say that anyone who is personally going through this should watch this. So that's just first disclaimer. So like I said, To the Bone is about a young girl, I think she's 20, with anorexia nervosa, and she's gone to multiple treatment facilities, and this movie kind of centers around this one particular treatment experience. So I guess let's first talk about the good things about the movie, the things that I thought were realistic and helpful. I think the family dynamic in this movie was fairly realistic and accurate. There was a lot of, you know, the parents trying to help but not really knowing what to do. You know, at one point her mom just says like they've been dealing with it for so long, they had to make her go live with her dad because she was just dying right in front of her. And I think that's a very common feeling amongst parents, is just having really no idea what to do, feeling helpless, feeling like your child is just dying in front of you. So I thought that the family dynamic that they included was very interesting, and I think that, you know, if you're a parent with a child going through an eating disorder, watching this movie might make you feel a little less alone, and I think you could relate a lot to the parents in this movie. I think another thing that was very realistic is that she, although she was wasting away multiple times, said that she had it under control, and again, I think that's a very common feeling or excuse amongst people suffering from an eating disorder. They never really think they're going too far, even though it's clear from the outside that they are. So again, honestly, I think one overarching theme or positive thing about this movie is I think that if you know someone who's going through an eating disorder, watching this movie might help you better understand what they are going through and what they are feeling. So I definitely think that that's a positive. One thing that I really liked is I actually liked the doctor, Keanu Reeves. And the first time that he met with her, he said, "You're full of shit." And I thought that that was really refreshing. I don't know if it was just my personal experience, but the dietitians that I worked with in the facility that I went to were very tough love. And the patients responded really well to that because, you know, honestly, as a dietitian in that setting, you have to be, because a lot of times the patients know that what they're saying, it's not real life. Like, they realize that what they're saying is an excuse, is Ed, the eating disorder, speaking, and they know it's not true, and they just need you to tell them. And so I thought it was really interesting to see the doctor doing that, not, you know, tiptoeing around anything, getting straight to the point. So I thought that that was realistic and refreshing to see the doctor be like that. I thought another thing that was interesting was the dynamic between the patients. They were both supportive and judgmental of each other. So at times, you know, if one of them got upset about something, they would try to help each other, but at the same time, like, it was still kind of a competition to some people, and like, they're supporting each other emotionally, but not always supporting each other's recovery. You know, like at one point, Ellen, the main character, finds out that her roommate had jogged home from the movies, and she said, "Don't tell anybody." Or at another point, she finds her roommate's purge bag, and her roommate says, "You know, if you don't tell anybody, I'll get you laxatives." So they're really not supporting each other. I don't know. And I think that's very realistic. I think at times everyone wants to support each other, everyone wants to get better, but then, you know, someone sees someone using a behavior and it kind of brings everyone down with them. So I thought that dynamic between the patients was very realistic. Now let's move on to the things that were not so realistic. The first was the actual treatment. I've been to 2 different facilities, and I feel like they are pretty standard in the way that they treat patients. And in the movie, they just let the patients eat dinner, eat what they wanted. At one point, the like counselor even said, "If you have special foods, then we'll get them for you. It's just about eating." And that is not at all what it was like at the facilities that I was at. Meals are incredibly structured. I'm not going to go into the whole system, but each person has a personalized meal plan where they have to eat a certain amount of fat, a certain amount of carbs, a certain amount of protein at each meal. They have to eat a certain amount of snacks. People are watching you plate your food to make sure that everything is there. People are eating with you. And especially the special foods thing, that's a really big thing in treatment, because people use these special foods as a way to restrict, and part of treatment is getting away from those special foods. So there's meals where you have to try a food that might scare you and things like that. And if the counselors know that there's a food that is just your safety blanket, they won't let you eat it at every meal. You have to have something different. So that part to me was the most unrealistic part of the movie. And like I said, I'm not an expert. Maybe there are facilities that do it that way, but to me it seems like nothing would really ever progress if you just were like, yeah, eat whatever you want, eat as much as you want, eat as little as you want. That doesn't seem like it would help anybody. So to me, that was the most unrealistic part. Also, there was not a lot of body diversity in the movie. There was one girl that was a little bigger, but she had binge eating disorder. Everyone else was incredibly skinny, and that to me is also not realistic. Honestly, the majority of people with eating disorders you're not gonna walk by them on the street and be like, whoa, that girl has an eating disorder, or that guy has an eating disorder. Most people look fairly normal unless it's incredibly severe anorexia. And also, you don't have to be skin and bones to have a severe, dangerous eating disorder. So that to me was not very realistic. They did include some age diversity, which I thought was really good. The main character was like 20, but in her treatment house, there was a girl that looked a lot younger, like probably in her teens, and there was also a woman who was probably in her like mid-30s. And there was also a guy there too. So I did like that they included some age diversity, gender diversity. It was just that everyone was skinny. That to me was not very realistic. So I think that's all of the things that I really have to point out about the movie. Overall, I think it was good. I think it could have been a lot more insightful. I mean, like I said, if you know someone who's going through an eating disorder, I think it'd be beneficial to watch this, and you might get some more insight on as to how that person is feeling. But I do think that we could have seen more about what she was feeling. I think that this movie is a good conversation starter. Eating disorders are not something that people talk about very often, and I definitely can't think of a movie that really portrays someone with an eating disorder. I don't know every movie that's out there, but I can't really think of one at this moment. So I do think that it's a step in the right direction, but I think that it was good to, again, see a little bit how she was feeling, how, you know, at times she thought she was in control, but at other times she knew that she couldn't stop. She wanted to, but she just couldn't. And I would encourage people to watch the movie. I think, again, that it's a good starting point into talking about eating disorders. Hopefully we can do it more, because I think that disordered eating is a lot more prevalent in our society than we realize it is. So maybe if we can get more, you know, media and movies to give us a little more insight, we can be a little more sensitive to the topic and open to learning about it. So yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about it. If you have watched the movie, please let me know your thoughts. And also, if you have any questions, let me know. Like I said, eating disorders are a topic that I'm incredibly interested in, so I would definitely like to make another video. I'm not really sure what it would be about or what that would look like, so if you have any ideas, then please let me know. And yeah, if you're a registered dietitian in the eating disorder field and you watch this movie, also let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I think that's it. If you liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up. It would really help me out. And if you're not subscribed, then please make sure you're subscribed for more videos like this. Not exactly like this, because like I said, this is the first movie review I've done. Oh, also, if there's any other like food and nutrition movies that you think I should watch and make a review on, then let me know that too. Yeah, so I will see you next week. Bye.